Man, I feel bad for Sam Claflin. First of all, he has to play in the quarter quell of the Hunger Games, and then he gets euthanized in Me Before You. Now he's shipwrecked in this movie. Like, guy can't catch a break. I'm John Hayeck, and welcome to my movie thoughts. Adrift. So this is a new movie starring Shailene Woodley and, as I mentioned, Sam Claflin, and the two of them are just in love. They met, and they're both born explorers, and they want to sail, and they want to travel around, and they just want to have a grand old time and celebrate how much they love each other. But then, one time, they are traveling, and they get caught in this terrible, huge, I believe it's level 4 hurricane, and they get completely shipwrecked and stranded in the middle of the ocean. Their ship is still, like, kind of functional, but it ultimately has some issues, and the two of them are just left kind of, like, completely battered and beaten up and everything like that. Sam Claflin, in particular, has his lungs collapsed and his leg is completely bashed in and everything, and Shailene Woodley has this big gash on her head, and she feels like she's just completely distraught all the time. She has no idea what to do, and the two of them are trying to navigate home because they're just in the middle of the Pacific. They might get to Hawaii, they might completely miss it, they keep drifting further and further away, and they have no clue whether or not they're going to survive. And this ultimately is a survival movie, and I'll tell you guys this, although this movie was pretty good, but I do think it is kind of just generic as survival movies come. It's a premise that you've seen 1,000 times before, where a couple characters just get stranded and they need to kind of find their way home and everything. We saw that last year in The Mountain Between Us. We've seen it in movies like Castaway. We've seen it in movies like, you know, name any generic survival movie that you've seen in the past, however many years film has existed for, and you could pretty much guess the plot of that from here. You kind of know what's going to happen at first. Oh, these characters, we're setting them up, we're understanding who they are, they undergo some kind of tragedy, they need to get out of it and everything. I do think this movie was interesting because it kind of like interspliced the times. It started with the shipwreck, and then it kind of cut back and forth between the characters meeting, the characters dealing with shipwreck, characters kind of interacting before the shipwreck, characters interacting after the shipwreck. So that was kind of original, but ultimately it is the same premise you've seen 1,000 times before. But the thing that elevates it to me beyond just kind of like a generic movie is the performances from Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin, because these two are both world-class performers. Shailene Woodley's been one of my favorite actors for the past several years, and Sam Claflin really again proves himself because, again, he's kind of been typecast now as the guy that's consistently either getting hurt or the guy that kind of has like a chip on his shoulder and just this kind of burden to bear and everything. But he really again proves that he knows what he is doing when it comes to acting. These two feel emotionally invested in one another. They feel like they really are falling in love, and they feel like they're really going through something so horribly just unbearable after the whole tragedy happens to them at sea. And I did like seeing how they kind of supported each other getting through it. It was just, the two of them were delightful together. They were charming together. This felt like it was just a nice movie by the end because of those two having such great chemistry with one another, despite how terrible some of the events that may have happened to them might have been. I like seeing that the two of them had their kind of ways of looking at the world, how those might have been different, how much they really overlapped, and how the two of them just came together in such a unique, organic, and kind of, you know, well-spirited way. So even though this movie is kind of generic in its premise, the character chemistry feels real, and the actors' performances feel very emotional. Shailene Woodley in particular has a couple scenes in this movie that just make your heart break, and you're just like, oh wow, like, oh, I feel like it's just one of those things where you're like, yep, she's a great actress, and in this case, you're rooting for her character, even if the script isn't 100% all the way there all the time. But guys, I enjoyed Adrift. I do think it's a movie that you don't need to run out and see, but I think it's a movie you'll enjoy if you do happen to find yourself in the theater seeing it, mainly because of its two lead performers. But guys, those are just my thoughts on Adrift. Be sure to let me know all yours in the comment section down below. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com, follow me on Twitter at JohnMake, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hayeck, as always, thank you guys so much for watching.